Hi guys, I am finding an opportunity in my day to connect with each of you, and I have not spoken up about these things for the purpose of waiting until I'm being called to do so. And it was quite apparent as I showed up in my office this morning that today was an important day for many purposes and reasons. So I want to extend some information. I want to extend some education. I want to extend some reassurance. I want to extend some truth and some confidence in that truth out to you so that it may serve you in one way or a million ways, in the areas where you might be finding anything that I say today or bring to you today, anything conflicting or triggering, or I would encourage you to just dig a little deeper in that space and what it is that is bringing up the resistance for you, because that's a great lesson for you. And as is the opposite is true, if there's parts of you that feels reassured, feels peace, feels joy, happiness, those are also important factors to tune into as purposeful and meaningful. And I'm watching and observing. I see hundreds of people come through my office doors and have for over a decade now, days to weeks to months, thousands. And it's obviously apparent that the space that we're living in right now is different and is triggering us to look at life and how we live in it differently. And I want to bring to you a little positive spin on things, because I think there's a silver lining in everything. Even in the really painful, hard, tough times, I think there's silver lining that you don't always see until many, many days, months, years, lifetimes later. But it's up to each of us to take responsibility for what we want to see. It's up to each of us to take responsibility for this moment right now. And are we going to be spewing out fear out of ourselves, out of our words, out of our thoughts, what we're taking in? Are we taking in fear? Or if that's not really working for you, how can you turn it around, right? How can you turn it around and find inspiration and joy, positivity? It doesn't mean that either emotion is invalid or anything in between. Emotions are emotions. They are what they are. It's just staying in the vibration of one and missing out on all of the others is sometimes where we get stuck. And that's what I'm hoping to reach out and help you with. So I want to pose a question to you. For any of you that seem like you're holding your breath right now, holding your breath, that waiting for all of this to be over. And I want you to think of other times in your life where big change has happened. And maybe even times where it was just a short amount of time. Like I think about patients and colleagues and friends and family where like you're on a holiday break and it's like this extended vacation of holidays, Christmas and New Year's, and you're out of sync with your normal routine and you feel like, I don't know what day it is, like I'm in my pajamas, like I don't even know how to write my name anymore, what time is it? You have no concept of what's going on because you're out of your routine, and how crazy that is, right? But you always know it's going to end, and that return to work or school or whatever is your routine, it's going to bring back that very controlled, expected way you show up and the way you exit your day and what you do in between. And right now it's kind of like an extended routine buster, and that can leave the individual feeling fear. Oh my gosh, especially when our routine is changed due to mass hysteria and fear and concern over a virus. And I'm not going to talk too much about that because because I am a licensed physician, and there's certain perceptions that I have about that I have to stay within my jurisdiction as a licensed practitioner. We can talk privately about that if you'd like, but I feel like there's a silver lining in this, and I want to encourage you to find a new routine. I want to encourage you to find something each day that will ground you and anchor you into purpose and meaning for this day. I want to encourage you to exhale that breath that you have been holding, waiting for a month from now or 2 weeks from now or 6 weeks from now for life to return back to normal, what you're used to, and encourage you to maybe accept that this is a new normal life. Different, but encourage you to look at this as if it's not going to change. And you might be feeling like another contraction, another wave of fear comes over you when you hear me say that. And I'm just playing with you in regards to inviting you to accept that today is what today is, and that life might not look like it did a month ago in another month from now or 2 months from now. I want to invite you to look as if your old life isn't going to return, not in the way it did. And I'm going to invite you to just sit with that and find your breath. And after you go through whatever emotion, whether it's anger, you're pissed off that I'm talking this way, or it's fear, or it's enjoyment, it doesn't matter to me how you're feeling. Those are your feelings, and they're important to be felt, but you don't have to stick with them. Because what the human brain, the human ego really wants to come back to is what it can expect, what it can control, and any guesswork in between makes us feel like we are just a ship with no direction, right? And right now the water's a little choppy. And if you've forgotten how to swim, you probably feel like you're drowning. If you've known how to swim and you've been living a lifestyle, a mindset, a health and wellness protocol that you know and you're drilled in, you're dialed in, then you probably feel okay right now. You probably feel a little relief, a little pressure off your back of expectations that society puts on you. You can hunker down. If you are considered an essential worker, you have little changes in your workplace, but you still have that routine. You feel probably grateful also, and that's okay to feel gratitude for what you are able to do. For those of you that are at home, I'm hoping by this point you're finding a little gratitude in what you've always been doing at home. Or that you have more time to do that, or if you have your children or a spouse or a partner or a roommate or somebody that you are spending more time with, that you're finding the magic in that. The new routine can look magical. You can look back on this 20, 30, 50 years from now and say, wow, I got an extended maternity or paternity leave. I got a really unique looking honeymoon. I got a glimpse into being X, Y, and Z that I never thought was possible. You can spin the victim story of I'm stuck, I have to do this, I am changing, I'm forced to do this. You can spin it any way you want. And that's the beautiful part of your imagination. I bet most of you have kids that are just kind of chilling and enjoying and bebopping. How can you mimic looking at how kids are looking at this? And how can you be the support system of being carefree without a routine, without certain expectations? And how can you incorporate that into your everyday life as it actually is right now? How can you let go of the illusion that your old routine is going to come back exactly as you know it so you can feel good about it? Let go of that. Exhale, this breath you've been holding, and look at today as a miracle. Look at today as your new life. Look at today as a vacation. Look at today, and I'm not saying this week, I'm not saying this month, I'm saying today, this minute, this next 5 minutes. How can you find the silver lining in that? How can you find in this choppy waters, How can you find a doggy paddle? How can you find a life preserver that helps you to breathe? So you're not feeling like you're drowning or you're struggling just because you don't have your routine that you're used to. And just because you don't know when it's going to end or it's going to begin or it's going to change. I would encourage each of you to not be solely dependent, putting your faith, putting your strength, putting your stability, putting your mental state on the cusp of a government or a CDC recommendation. Putting your eggs all in one basket that once that happens and they give the go ahead, then I'm going to feel confident and safe and happy, I think is an illusion. Might bring you some peace. Having guidelines, having routine does bring peace. And that's what I'm actually suggesting, is how can you recreate a routine with yourself today? How can you look at the foundation that maybe you were living pre this era and how it was serving you? What are the fundamentals that brought you joy and prosperity? Prosperity can mean a lot of things, not just monetary. Abundance of opportunities, of ways of connecting. I don't know about you, but I'm connecting with people more now than what I did before. Interesting. How? Well, like all of a sudden I'm having like this big old FaceTime thing with my sisters and my family that we all live apart anyway. So we've never done this before. Why all of a sudden is it important for us to connect? Well, because we're looking at our time different. We're looking at the importance of connection different. We're being taken out of our old routine that was so mundane that we are like this. We don't even know anything that's happening because we have such a routine. We got to go to our calendar. We know what to expect. We know what time we're getting up. We have an alarm clock set. We know what time we're going to bed. We expect everything and we miss out on the magic. We miss out on the connection. How many of you have spent more time outside than ever before, right? How in all existence have you missed out on those opportunities right today? Missed it because you didn't have this. How has this opportunity been a gift and fear and breath holding and trying to survive because your routines change? How has it taken you out of missing your own unique opportunity that has been delivered to you? Go back to what served you before. Don't give up on those things. And it might look different. You might have to cook more meals at home, right? Than what maybe you used to do. That's okay. That really is okay. It's just a change. It doesn't mean you're going to starve because you can't do what you were doing before. When it comes to work, how can you look at the thing that you've always wanted to do, but never did because you were so busy working? How can you invest more time in that? And that could be building sandcastles and, painting murals and writing a book. That could be dancing and getting more connected to your intuitive self. You know how many free online resources are available to you right now? Right? Like you have access to so many things just because you aren't busy in your own mundane routine. It's changed for a reason. So how can you look back at what was serving you and let go of what wasn't serving you and find a new way to come back to enjoyment and to entertainment and joy for yourself? If you accept that your future life is never going to be the same, how can you start recreating it today so that you know it not only is never going to be the same, but it's going to be far better because you just started investing into yourself and into your hopes and dreams and happiness today in a way that you never would have been given that opportunity had this not come into play. That is how you begin to find a new routine. That is how you begin to find a feeling of calm, is recommitting yourself to what your self-care looks like, right? Don't give up on the things that you know have lightened you and enlightened you. And yes, I am forever grateful for the things that I did prior to my salon that I go to getting shut down. Like, I'm grateful that I had a hair appointment just days before. my sons and my husband, however, did not. So I was like, all right, I'm going to do my best. And they didn't turn out so bad. I might have a career in cutting hair. But for now, I'm being called to be your chiropractor and your nutrition expert and all of the other hats that I wear. And I'm so grateful for that, because that is the thing that I've been teaching people to swim in and through for years, for a decade. I've been teaching people how to swim, the backstroke, the forward stroke, the side swimming that I don't know how to do, the butterfly, like underwater. I've been teaching people how to swim in the arena of health and wellness and mindfulness for years. And I would say most of my people that I'm seriously connected to, they haven't stopped a darn thing. They're finding gratitude and happiness in their self-care practice. They're freaking feeling confident AF. And the people who are worried about leaving the house and thinking that the practices that they were doing before aren't important anymore because they need to stay locked up. They don't need to work out. They just need to leave to get groceries or get some takeout. There's a reason there's certain businesses that are deemed essential. I just named my business Essential Chiropractic for no reason 10 years ago. Here it is. And I say that kiddingly, but I say that extremely confidently as well. You have an innate intelligence inside of you that is far wiser than any human being, consciously. There's miracles happening. Invest in that. If you don't know about that, start learning about that. Start tuning into how can you learn about what makes your body tick and talk and grow and heal, because that, in a world of fear right now that is leaving people paralyzed and not leaving their house out of fear, there are ways that you can rise above that fear. I'm not saying be malicious in your intent and going out. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying staying in doing something out of fear is very different than doing something intentionally out of inspiration because you feel it is helping you thrive. That's the difference. Doing anything out of fear and disillusion is going to suppress your immune system. It's going to suppress your mind and body, and it's going to crush you, especially long term. And so if you're sitting here at home holding your breath in isolation, waiting for normalcy to return, and that's where you're going to stay until somebody gives you a release, you need to find your own release because you can't last that long. Your body will break down. So I'm not suggesting you be irresponsible, but I am suggesting you to either go back to what your health and wellness routine is or to stay committed to it. Because remembering the swimming strokes that maybe you and I have connected with, what are the things that keep you above water? What are the things that keep you above the fear? What are the things that keep you above the line of disease and keep you in a thriving wellness state? That's where you can go with your daily routine. That's where you can go with how you feed your body and your family's bodies. That's where you can go with how you're deciding what to surround yourself with, what thoughts, what things are you going to take in on social media or the television, what things are you going to turn off because you already have heard it. It's not really changing. So why feed the fear, even though it sometimes feeds some sort of addiction. I will say that. It feeds some sort of thing that keeps you fueled into staying in fear mode, or you're going to do something that keeps you fueled in a confident, independence, inspired stance. And so for my patients, I want to commend you in remembering the thing that keeps your body connected and deciding what comes next to keep it adjusted and keep it well and healing and thriving. I want to commend you at so many of you that have maintained and recommitted yourself to your self-care practice. There's nothing more honoring than being able to adjust you and your children. And the efforts that we've taken have maintained and increased in our office to maintain the sacredness of a healing environment is like none other. And you know that. This is why you're drawn to this. There's far more germs, if you're afraid of that outside of this office than there is in it. But one thing you're not going to get outside of this office is an adjustment to your nervous system. That's what I do know. So really ask yourself, am I better off stopping my self-care routine, or am I better off continuing it and leaning into that and trusting that process even more now than maybe ever before? I have patients that have started looking at their nutritional intake, looking at their supplements, and getting really serious about it for the first time, and I've been working with them for years. That's a really amazing improvement. I have patients and clients that have invested into their mindfulness and spiritual practice more now because they realized fear and anxiety wasn't helping them. There's people who are learning to wash their hands, ladies and gentlemen. There's people that are learning the importance of connecting with nature because they realize staying inside of four walls is driving them crazy. That is beautiful, to get out and connect with nature, fresh air, and that magnetic field of the earth is so healing. There are so many silver linings to this whole process rather than fear, 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 fear. There's so much more than that. You get to decide what you want to live in. And I want to encourage you to do a self-assessment. What routines are you creating today that are going to serve you for tomorrow, that are going to serve your family for tomorrow? What are things that need to change? What are things that need to stay the same? Because they're the things that you fall back on and you depend on. If you need a reminder of how to swim, I'm here to help you. If you have not been adjusted and you need to be, we're still open 5 days a week. If you are wanting a refresher on the importance of your nutritional health, I've always been here for you. I haven't went anywhere. And that's what doctor means. It's educator. It's educating you on how you are innately born to thrive, and you gotta be aware of what poison you let into your body, whether that's a physical chemical poison or that's a poisonous thought or word that you're speaking. Don't surround yourself in a poisonous environment. Your body, your soul cannot live its purpose in that. So come back to your practice, your self-care practice, your spiritual practice. That is what's gonna help you through this. This is what's always helped you through this. Nothing changes. Nothing changes in that arena. It only grows. Because if you don't change and you take away from that, who is going to be affected by it? You are. So as a reminding, what is your healing salve right now? What are the things that are going to help you to heal through any emotional upsets? Maybe some that I've even triggered in you. And what is the healing salve that you already are doing that you are so grateful for, that you've started long ago or you're just beginning now? Remember that, because you are a born healer. We want to be conscious about what you're doing. There's a purpose for that. And I think the purpose is to come from a empowered place, not a fear-based place. Making choices out of fear isn't the answer. It never has been. So live empowered, live educated, and live in tune with your own divine self, because within that is wisdom that's beyond myself or anyone else. I hope this serves you. I hope that you are able to come back to maybe rediscovering your life that is never going to go back to as it was, and you find peace and enjoyment and curiosity with that concept. And if you need to re-listen to this, re-listen to it so you can come back to that. But don't hold your breath. It's not worth it. You've got to breathe at some point. So start today. Enjoy your day, guys. It really is a miracle that we get to be here together to collectively know that we're all kind of going through this, but we can lift each other up, and that's the purpose of this. You take care.